Hey, welcome back. It's been a while since I've done a video. Spring is here and the wife's greenhouse needed some work, some chores around the house, and I had a tiny little chimney fire there last weekend, so I didn't get to do a video there either while I was dealing with that. So we're back. In the last video we installed Active Directory system, and now what we're going to do is just do a quick one here as we set up a mail server. So behind me what I've got is I've got ClearOS, and we're going to take that and we are going to go over the quick and dirty of how to set up a mail server. So when we come back, I will be on the screen and guiding you through an install. So here we are at the ClearOS. The only thing I've done from the initial install different was I renamed it because it's going to be the mail server. So what I've done is I've just renamed the server to mail.hawse.ca so that it doesn't have the Active Directory name to it anymore, because I was going to use it for the Active Directory and then I changed my mind and set that up in Cockpit on Fedora. And that was in our last video. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to show you any status installed. So I've just gone over to the marketplace and I'm just going to show you what I've installed and set up. So there's a free IMAP and POP server. So I've installed that up. There's a free mail anti-spam. I've installed that up, but I haven't actually turned that on yet. There is a mail antivirus. I've installed that, but I also haven't enabled it yet. And then there's just this default, comes with it, the mail settings app. So those have all been installed on the system and configured. So next what you do is you come over here to your system after those have been installed and you've rebooted with them in place. And you come over here to settings, and then down here, mail settings. So this is where you set the name of the main domain, hawse.ca, and the name of the mail server, mail.hawse.ca. Now, it's very important that I list with GoDaddy, so that's where I have my records kept. It is important that your master A record points to hawse.ca and that you create an additional A record that points to your mail server. Now, I had the master one created originally, but I did not go in and create an additional one for the mail server, and I was wondering why only my internal mail was working. So it's very important to create that additional mail record. It's just been a long time since I've done it, so I kind of spaced out and forgot. Then when I figured it out, when I was checking my firewall, seeing why I wasn't getting external, I'm like, this is all set. And then it clicked on me. Boom. You need another A record. So I figured all that out, and then everything started working. SMTP email notification settings, again, your mail server, SMT port 25. And this is all to do a basic test. I'm actually using IMAP and secure SMTP, which I have a certificate set up. So if you go, so that's the general system settings that has to be set up before anything else, just to get a basic testing. Then you can come up here to your servers, go into your messaging servers, and you can go down here to SMTP server. It's the next step. So again, you can set a maximum mail size, you point to where your A records point to. If this is a relay server, so if it's going, say this is the second server, or I'm using it for a subdomain, I could then use this to point to my main mail server. So for instance, I install a DevOps app, a backend, front end, and it's going to need to email, and it just needs to relay emails that are hit with the system, like through say a web portal or something. Then this relay, then I could set that up on that machine to be a relay host pointing back to this machine. So that's how that works. There's more to it than that, but that's the simple part of it. So SMTP authentication is on. Block plane passwords is off for now. I will probably be enabling that shortly, but for this session I have it disabled because I also want to make sure that when I turn on the spam filters and the antivirus filters that it's not interfering with credential logins, and then I'll turn it on after that. Just a step-by-step process to make sure if I do run into any errors, exactly where I run into them, and it makes it easy to troubleshoot. If you turn everything on all at once when you're setting these up and you run into a problem, you got 20 different things to check. So that's why that's there. So next, you come over to the IMAP and POP server, and right now I have secure IMAP disabled and secure POP disabled. I did set up rules in my firewall to allow for those. That's, I think it's on 993 and 992. I might have those ports wrong, but anyway, that's somewhere in the 900s. So anyway, I'll enable those afterwards once I've got all the spam and everything else rules working. I have already created a key for that. Now you can get an external key, so you can get like GoDaddy, for instance, to generate you a key, and then you can bring that in and tie that to those. I just have a self-signed key because I'm really not expecting too much mail on this particular server. It's mostly going to be for internal monitoring and reporting of systems that I bring online, and for testing of systems such as Dolabar and a few other things as I bring them on, doing some DevOps down the road. So push email is a feature. If you find your email's not working, you can actually turn push email off. But it basically is mostly for like iPhones and tablets. So as soon as you get an email, it appears. You don't have to do the check mail button. Most modern systems work with push email just fine and dandy. Main service policy name, I'm not plugging in. This is basically the service that handles running of the email. So once you've got all those set up, you can do a test email back here, system, and it is under settings and under mail systems, and then down at the bottom here you can test this, and it'll basically send an email to wherever you want. So if I ran that, it would send it to my inbox and I'd be good to go. So I already have my account set up. So now what you need to do is set up an account. So I'll go back up here to System, Accounts, Users. So I should go in here first and just show you in Groups. What I've already done here is I've already created a group called Email. And now how ClearOS works is that if I want to, and I've tied this to the email user group, it automatically can build a distribution list. Then that distribution list will automatically be available to anyone in that group. So for instance, I have phawse at hawse.ca. If I create an mhawse at hawse.ca, all of a sudden now in my email client, I will have available for me as a distribution group or an individual address, kind of like a GAL for Outlook, right? Global address lookup. Those members will all be available. So I'm going to go back here to users, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a user, username, D. Tolstrom. Actually, my wife just recently changed her back to her maiden name, so Westcott. D. Westcott. Don. Westcott. Password. Go, and we've got everything enabled for her. She doesn't need to be a print server administrator though. Disabled. So I've also set up this as a CUPS print server. It's for my Samsung multifunction network-based printer. Not important to this email, but that's why that's showing up there, because I have this as a cup server as well. And she's an SMTP user, and she is an IMAP pop server user. Don't need any aliases for her, she's good, but I am going to add her to the email group so she shows up on that list, and I'm going to hit add. We now have, oh, password and password verify don't match. I must type something wrong. Pretty funny, actually, using a super simple password just for this demo, so this account won't be sticking around, but type the password wrong. There we go. So now we have Don Westcott and Paul Hawse, and they are good to go. So that is pretty much it. There isn't much more to know. The main thing is getting those MX records and those A records set up on your whoever your domain service is, and making sure that they match onto the system and having your firewall opened up. It's a pretty simple mail configuration. However, if you just get one thing wrong, it's not going to work. So the other thing I'm going to do here though is I'm going to come back here to server, and I'm going to go into messaging, and I am going to turn on the anti-spam. Send an update, and I'm also going to turn on the email antivirus. Oh, it's already enabled, so it's going to bounce things with bad extensions. So if anything is on attachments that we don't like, we can edit and modify those settings as well. But we could put that's on bounce, bad header policy. It's just going to pass it through, and then detected virus, obviously discard. But I'm going to go in here and edit this. Actually, no, cancel. I'm going to leave that on bounce, and I'm going to just go take a look in here. I haven't looked here. There's some Office project extensions, that's fine. Don't care. Yeah, we don't need executables. Basically we want to make sure that we get our docs and our PDFs. Okay, so docs are enabled, that's fine. PDFs are enabled, that's fine. Excel's enabled. Nope, we're good. So we don't really need to do anything there. List is done. Just update that. Cool. So that's everything we need. Now the next thing we need to do is simply set up an email client and test Don's account. I'm not going to do that on camera. You don't need to see it. I've already done it with mine earlier before this. But it's basically just open up a mail client, put in the address, the email address, point to the mail.hawse.ca, and connect. It'll connect up to it, then send a test email and reply to it. So pretty easy. Anyway, that's going to wrap this up. Not sure what I'm going to do in the next video or when I'm going to get to it. I have spring projects for the wife all lined up. So this one, I apologize again for this one taking so long. But I'm hoping that maybe in the next video I'll either get Dolomar installed, or I'm not really happy with my Active Directory on Cockpit. I might just redo that with an alternative and use free IPA. Haven't thought about it. I'll have to do a walkthrough and see. I haven't installed that ever, so it's that'll be new to me. So I'll decide what I'm going to do and surprise y'all. In the meantime, take care and be kind to everybody. Bye.